How is your generosity? Generosity. Generosity. There are a couple of great words like generosity and courage, and they're kind of connected. Because generosity, courage, you see, is a word coming from the heart. Core is heart. So it's about how much heart. That's what courage is. How strong is your heart? How much core is in there in your life? I wonder what is the etymology of generosity? Generous, where does that word come from? I never thought about it. I don't know. Or if I did hear, I don't remember. That can also be a good explanation. What is generosity? And this line today from somebody who was experiencing a lot of generosity, also a very passionate person, very committed person. And he says, if you sow generously, you will reap bountifully. So generosity seems to be a great way to live. Generosity. And the other way is to be grabbing and holding and tight and kind of a no risk taker. Good morning. Oh, we said hello yesterday. Welcome. What part of the country are people from?
I'm from Florida. They're primarily from Washington.
Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
Okay. We're doing, every morning we do a live stream
Oh, fantastic.
at the Sunrise, called Sunrise Stroll and Chat, since COVID started.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you can check it out.
Okay.
I'll give you the link later.
Okay. Awesome.
What do you do? Instagram, Facebook?
Facebook.
Yeah, actually, I'm doing live Facebook right now. You just pull up the search and you can hold this for me for a second. And then I'll write it in for you. And then you'll have it. So we got a substitute cameraman here, guys, for a second. First time in the Holy Land?
Yes.
What's your take so far?
Beautiful. It's
First time at the Sea of Galilee?
yes.
Wow. What comes into your heart?
It was already spectacular what the story is represented here. One of my favorite narratives is him calling. One of my favorite narratives is him calling Peter and John fishers him in, and to know that that happened on one of these shores, and then also the walking on water, and just the distance to the other side, too. The magnitude of that seems more spectacular to me. Not that walking on water is any less of a miracle, but just the distance is something quite special.
Like a marathon.
He definitely took a long stroll. And so, yeah, I think I would say just yesterday I was experiencing a little bit of cognitive dissonance and just some transition because of the weight of the history here and what it represents in my life and the lives of so many other people. But then, we have all these modern things
Right.
that are in the tension of it. And so we drove in an hour or something that may have taken them weeks to walk or months to walk.
Right.
And so it's just all of that tension
Right.
is what I've been experiencing. But there was something so beautiful about Caesarea where we were, and
Right.
Cornelius, and the idea that his life represents so many of ours, and
Right.
so yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, wonderful. I wish you a wonderful rapping experience.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for sharing this with the world.
Do you want to show who you are on your phone, on the
that's
screen?
fine.
You'd like to say hello? What's your first name?
My name is David. I'm from Orlando, Florida. It's my first time in Israel, and just having an amazing time bearing witness to this. I would recommend that if anyone is physically able or able at all in your lifetime, that you would make this journey if you're at all remotely interested in seeing the stories that you're reading in the Bible come to life. I've only been here 24 hours, and I've already been rocked and journal full of notes based off of everything that I've experienced already. So
You're a very receptive man. This is wonderful, and may the Lord bless you and the rest of the path as you spend these days here at Magdalen and the area around the lake.
amen. Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless
And
you.
the first name again was?
David.
David. How could I forget?
Yeah.
That's this time of the morning, David. Forgive me. David, an unusual name around here. Well, obviously, the opposite. So, people, generosity. What is generosity? And it's that freedom to give. Freedom. It's a way of life. It's feeding into a fruit that's going to be. Anybody who's generous leaves a big impact in society. That's a mighty tree. Generosity has major roots, has great roots. It's communicating. Generosity seems to go beyond limits. And that's one of the great things about the way Jesus was also talking, you know. How many times should I forgive? 7. So Peter was trying to express great generosity. I'd forgive the guy 7 times. I mean, when do you start losing patience? How many times do you forgive before you lose patience for the same mistake? You know, it's like the second time the first time we feel like great that we forgave, and we do it maybe reluctantly, but to forgive 7 times. And Jesus said, no, 70 times 7. 70 times 7. 70 times 7. $70 times 7. You see, that's the language of generosity. He who sows sparingly will reap sparingly. And there's a marvelous story why we have this little switch in readings today. And I was thinking how much society loves celebrity characters. And if you don't have them, you invent them. And those are the great stories of classical mythology, of Ulysses and of history, Julius Caesar, the celebrities, you know. And it's kind of part of human life and human society. We celebrate. Somebody is celebrated. Now, let's celebrate them for the right reasons. And one of the guys today, his name is Larry. And he was one of, I think it was 7 deacons in Rome. And the emperor had just come down on a bunch of the leading Christians and had them, I'm not sure if they were crucified, they were definitely martyred. They gave the ultimate witness. And Larry was very sad that that he wasn't with them. That's how they saw generosity as well. And that kind of matches the gospel line then. If the seed doesn't fall on the ground and die, it will not bear much fruit. So the martyrs in the early church were aware that they should give the ultimate testimony, that this was the greatest way to have the most impact. It was the greatest crowning of life. Oh, I think there was a fish there, was there? Back to the perch again. I wonder if that bird got its breakfast. that's some balancing act, isn't it? Sometimes we try to balance generosity, you know, and he gives lavishly to the poor. That wisdom that we find in biblical texts. Blessed the man who gives lavishly to the poor. Blessed the person who is healthy, that means very rich in health, and gives lavishly to somebody who is sick. You know, those frontline caregivers who give lavishly of themselves in the middle of the night with all their smarts, all their research, consultations. I need to find out what this patient needs. And I mean, the ultimate case of lavish generosity are parents. And how many times do parents have to just even do one little thing a million times to get the child to get it? To give lavishly. Because the parent has it all. The parent is like, owns the whole world in the eyes of a little baby. And the parent provides with so much love. Giving lavishly. It's kind of the nature of things, isn't it? If we look at like how many flowers, what lavish generosity. You know, one flower would be enough to make one seed, but maybe there's 1,500 seeds in that one flower. It's really lavish. And then we go up into the skies and we don't see them now, but they're there. The sky is filled with stars because the sunlight is so bright we can't see them. And now with the new discoveries of science, did you see those images of the new galaxies that they didn't know about? You know, lavishly, like, you know, the generosity, the unlimited nature. We're kind of born for unlimitedness. It's in our system to be generous, we have lavishness around us. Sometimes we use lavishness very selfishly, and we spend a lot on ourselves, and there are other people in great need. And there comes generosity again, showing its wonderfully beautiful face. To give generously. And the wisdom of the farmer, you know, if the seed doesn't fall in the ground and rot, it remains alone. If we don't give generously, we don't bring color into the world. We don't bring beauty into the world. We stay our little selves because we need to be united with the ultimate generosity, the ultimate source. How many leaves on this tree? Count them. The ultimate generosity. How many times does a lover say, I love you? Until the moon fails, I will love you. I can't be without you. How many times do they say this? Because, you see, there's no end to generosity. There's no end to love. And love and generosity and the word heart. I want to know what the meaning of the word generosity is. Where does that come from? Nobody Googled it? Or maybe somebody did send it in here and I didn't see. And then we know that how repugnant miserliness is. It just doesn't draw our heart and our soul. It kind of disappoints us. Miserliness is a letdown. And generosity is what the child's face recognizes in front of the love and affection of grandpa and grandma. Generosity, ultimate love. Because it gives the last, it gives everything. You know, the generosity of the widow's mite. It's not about the amount, it's about the amount you have that you give. It's about giving. It's about, you see, we're made to give. And that's part of the nature of a person. Persons are beings in relationship. And you become a parent because you got a child. You're blessed with a child. You're born because parents brought you into life. We can't live without relationship. We're caused by a relationship. And since we're caused by a relationship, relating to others is the way to be. That's the personal way. And that's where generosity comes into play, or miserliness, or envy, or jealousy. Imagine being generous when somebody triumphs. And I really wanted to have that victory, but to be generous and to share in the victory and the joy of the other who wins. There's 1,000 fields for generosity. It's not just Larry the Martyr in Rome, in the very early church, which made such an impact. And he became a celebrity because of his generosity. Hey, there go our little family of ducks. We got them. They're becoming a feature here. And you can't distinguish between the parents and the kid anymore. So there's a stage of growth and adulthood. And the ultimate source of generosity, the ultimate source of courage. Thank you for doing this little round, Purple Heron. I saw a thing the other day, a bird the other day, and there was a title on it. It was up in Mount Arbel actually yesterday. And it was a grey heron, and it seemed to have the same bodily structure. So I'm wondering if our purple herons here are not grey herons, or if they're purple herons. They have a wonderful wingspan for the size of their body. I guess most birds have a big wingspan for the size of their body. That's part of being a bird. I hope your generosity has a great wingspan. We'll leave it like that for today, people. God bless you. See you later, alligators. Good to be here. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing. Thank you all for sharing, because people are seeing it and noticing it, and that brings blessing to a lot of people. See you later, alligators.